Hello, everyone. Welcome to Hot Takes and Beer Breaks, the podcast where we have some hot takes but more beer breaks. I'm John, joined as always by Justin and Jason. How you guys doing today?
I'm happy you finally got a haircut. It was
Yeah, me
Yeah,
bothering
too.
me.
thank you. Yeah,
Same. Yo, John, turn your head. Turn your head.
no,
No,
For
you
the
gotta see
fans.
look at
no.
Get
his
the money
stupid
shot.
head.
Profile.
So because my hair was
Look at
so
the tan
long,
lines. Look
you
at the
could see
tan
like,
lines.
Are you is that tan lines?
Yeah.
yeah,
Damn.
that's how long my hair was.
You are
So I have to go
pasty.
outside.
Yeah,
I
that's
know, but I'm
great.
mad. But
Oh, bad news. We lost our two biggest fans.
Oh, that's upsetting.
Because we got Central Air now, baby.
You have a child, don't you? You're having so many dad jokes.
And it was the
It
same
got
one
real
from last
quiet. It
week.
got
It
real
was the
quiet.
same one from last week. Just
I
carried
know
over.
he's rehashing the old one, but I'm just
It doesn't
saying.
count.
I'm talking to Rachel. I want to find out some things. uh, so, to any of our followers, you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter, all at Hot Takes and Beer Breaks, or you can email in at hottakesandbeerbreaks@gmail.com. So, this week we watched Dave Chappelle's new stand-up special that premiered on YouTube. It was called 846. It was
Was it
trending
only
over.
on YouTube, or was it on
Yeah,
like
it wasn't on
Netflix or something?
Netflix.
It
Yeah,
was
it
just
wasn't,
strictly on YouTube. Okay.
but it was on Netflix's YouTube channel called Netflix is a Joke, which
That's okay. That's what I saw, and I was
yeah.
very confused.
Yeah, I thought it was like a parody account or something,
Yeah.
making fun of whatever, but no, it's their official account.
Huh,
So Dave
interesting.
Chappelle released this. He was sitting outside in a gazebo, had everyone 6 feet apart, two
Would you call it
chairs.
a gazebo? I don't know
Was
if
it a
I'd call it a gazebo. It looked like it was just a makeshift stage.
Maybe it was a makeshift
It looked
stage.
like a kitchen supply-less version of what Guy Fieri has in his backyard. If you've seen the
Yeah.
new version of Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives Takeout Edition.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm not going to call it Guy Fieri's backyard edition deck. So he was outside. He put out this special. Everyone was wearing masks. Everyone had their temperature taken before they entered the premises. So a lot of safety precautions were put in place. And he talked about how historic this kind of special is being done because it's the first event kind of being put out in North America like that. So what do you guys think? Did you like it? Did you enjoy it?
I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was a lot different than I would have expected.
Yeah. Yeah. Justin, what do you think?
It was exactly what it needed to be.
It
Oh
was
yeah, without
very
question.
so
I
for those
mean,
who haven't watched it, spoilers ahead, but it's not the funniest special, I
we can't
wouldn't
really
say.
spoil anything. It's not like he talked about anything new, and that was kind of like his theme about it.
Yeah,
No, but I figure I'd throw it out in case anyone hasn't watched it yet and just wants to go back
I
and
would
watch
like
it.
to.
Hmm.
But yeah, I've watched Chappelle. Like, I remember watching the Chappelle show,
Oh, the
and just
Chappelle
like
show
his
was so good.
stand-ups throughout the years. And yeah, it's like still spot on with his type of style, and while addressing serious issues.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's one of the most incredible specials I think I've ever seen. Not from maybe a funny standpoint, because I don't know if it's the funniest laugh out loud, but just Dave Chappelle is obviously talking about the not only George Floyd case, well, mostly George Floyd, but Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, among multiple other cases of police.
Murders.
Yeah, just I guess just murders of young
Yeah,
black men, unarmed black men,
And
and
women.
and
you
women
can. Oh yes, sorry,
and
women too.
children.
And black
Yeah,
trans. That's actually a huge issue. But I don't think
Oh
it was
yeah,
yeah.
addressed in this. So
No, it wasn't.
but you could just see the pain in his voice, and well, you could hear the pain in his voice. You could see it on his face. He was visibly upset, and he did a great job of kind of laughing through the pain and really speaking from his heart. I think, and it was just an incredible special. It's something I think we all needed to see, right?
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah,
I
I'm.
highly recommend it.
Oh yeah,
And
without
it
question.
is funny because he actually alludes, like he straight up says it at one point. He's like, "I've been saying this for years,"
Yeah,
and
Yeah.
he
yeah. When
has. Because after that video, because it was only a half an hour, and it was on YouTube, so like all the linked videos, and there's just like bunches of montage videos of his different jokes, and the amount of times that he's more lightheartedly talking about like the same issues, like 20 years ago, like whenever he started, just and he was a lot skinnier back then.
Yeah.
He bulked.
Oh no, he's huge now.
Yeah.
Not in a good way, not like he's chunky, but he's very big. He so that it's funny because if you go back to those old specials, he talks about how black people are scared of the police. They don't want to call the police even if they haven't done anything wrong. He jokes that like if there's a break-in in his house, the police will show up and take him away, and that's sometimes the case. You know, you hear that happening sometimes. So I think that highlights a lot of issues going on today where there people are like, well, why didn't you listen to the cops, or why didn't you listen to them when they gave you an order? It's because they're scared. You know, they're scared that who was the woman that went to jail, I believe wrongfully, right? Or maybe she had a reason to go for jail, but she died in jail a few years ago. I don't know if that case ever got settled. I'd have to look up the name.
I'm not sure. You need
I
more
have no
details.
clue.
I think
Yeah.
there was a woman in Texas, and she was detained and she was in jail. And then I think they said it was a suicide, but a lot of the friends had questions. They were like, it doesn't sound like her. They were confused. So it was one of those cases where it's something seemed really at the time. I don't know if it got resolved, but it just seemed so. It really highlights, I think, what he was joking about back then and what we see issues with today, where there's not a lot of trust between police and the African American community.
Mm-hmm.
So, did you guys like breeze through it though? Like it didn't. I know you said it was 30 minutes, but it didn't feel like it, right?
No, not at all.
It was like he was talking about one thing, but also like a million things, if that makes any sense.
Yeah,
Like it was
I
one
get what
central
it does.
focus, but there was so much put into it, and like so well organized.
Do you
Yeah.
feel like
Definitely.
he excused maybe because there was the man that was part of the Black Lives Matter movement that shot at police, and then there was the police chief he talked about, or the police officer who was fired from the LAPD. Do you think he excused some of their behaviors, or do you think he did a good job in kind of highlighting why they did what they did, while also saying what they did was wrong? Did that come across to you at all during this
Oh
special?
yeah,
Yeah, definitely.
You think so?
I mean
Oh,
the
yeah.
way he put it, he said like these were military men who came
Mhm.
back, and what is the job of the military? To fight against terrorism. And what
Yeah.
did they see? Basically,
Yeah,
not basic terrorism, but domestic.
Yeah.
and he did kind of say like, why are they doing this to us? Because it seems like it's taking away from the cause. It's making it seem like the Black Lives Matter movement at the time, was a bad cause when it wasn't. I was just, because I saw some people like talking about that, saying like, oh, he kind of highlighted terrorist or whatever. But I didn't get that sense either. I just was curious what you guys thought.
No, I mean
No.
he's like not endorsing the actions of them. He's just saying what they did, and there's a reason behind it.
Now, how do you feel? Because part of the special, he talks about Don Lemon, the CNN anchor,
Mm-hmm.
who was kind of calling out celebrities for not speaking up, and he was saying that celebrities shouldn't be speaking up right now. Like it's the streets, as he called it. It's regular people really speaking with one voice, really coming together to try and make a difference. That we don't need celebrities right now. But how do you feel that he put this special out, and it's kind of a celebrity giving his voice to the cause and kind of stating where he stands on the issues?
The way I see it is, it's him doing what he's always done. So I don't see how it's any different than, well, if you have somebody who's like a celebrity for like they're just a movie star or something, and they come out with just like a lecturing PSA, that's one thing. Or if like they're getting interviewed and they chime in with their 2 cents about it, that's another thing. It's something that they're doing that's like out of their norm.
Kind of virtue signaling,
Yeah.
signaling.
And especially a lot of them with like those videos. There's just a shit ton of celebrities here in the video, and they're just like kind of just saying one thing, and then that's it. That's their contribution.
Mm.
This is different, in my opinion, because he has always been an advocate for this. It's not like he's been trying to hide it. He's been talking about the same things for years.
It's a little apples and oranges. It's Dave Chappelle came out, who's been talking about this for years, kind of lending his voice and amplifying the other people's voices. It's a little bit different than Taylor Swift putting out an Instagram post saying this is wrong.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's like a doctor saying something about coronavirus because they're a doctor and they've been doing medical stuff before the coronavirus. They're just continuing to do their job at a different time when it's a little more relevant in the public's eye.
Yeah, that's fair. Jason, did you also get that feeling?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so you didn't have a problem with him putting out the special, and
no,
you don't think it was a distraction?
No.
Well, speaking of distractions, I guess Kyrie Irving came out earlier this week and said that he didn't want to start at the NBA season, thinking it would take away from the Black Lives Matter movement, that it might be a distraction.
Dwight Howard said it too.
Yes, Dwight Howard as well. But Kyrie, I think, was the first one. Dwight Howard kind of co-signed it, right?
I think
or maybe
so.
they
I'm
came
not
out together.
Positive.
How do you feel about that? Do you guys feel like sports, like you have ample amount of athletes that have a tremendous amount of impact that can speak their voices and kind of say something during the game, or do you think it speaks more to take away from the game, not play, and say that this is important?
I mean, I know like sports have always, I don't want to use the word distraction, but sports have always been that like kind of take your mind off things.
Okay.
Like how back in 2001, like the 9/11 attacks, like when they brought baseball back, like the Mets were the first to play. Like the Mets and the Braves were the first game to play, and like it just kind of like put everybody at ease in the city of New York, and like just because like it was a distraction from it. I mean I kind of get what they're saying, but like I mean at the same hands like I don't know. Like I'm sure all of this will still continue. I hope it still continues. But I mean, who knows? Maybe it thins out a little bit. Like I have no clue. But I understand what they're getting at.
Like if we go back to some semblance of normalcy and we kind of go, oh, the NBA finals are on, or we get distracted, we might all, the people at the core of the issues like Black Lives Matter might stay focused, but the other people, like maybe us, would get distracted and just think, oh, they got what they wanted, right? It's done. Like when it's not the case, like we need to stay on message.
Okay, Cuomo.
Yeah, I mean,
thanks. Well, I was just
For
curious
anyone who
because
doesn't know that reference, he basically was on TV and was like, "You guys won. You got what you wanted." I don't have a good New York accent, but it's very ignorant.
You gotta work on it.
What do you think of, speaking of New York, the New York City? It wasn't the police chief, right? It was the police officers union leader, right? Saying like
gave a speech or something about it, right?
Yeah, he said the news and the public officials are vilifying the police and that they're the reason for all this.
I don't know. I didn't watch it, nor did I listen to him talk. I just saw like the clip of it, but like I didn't actually listen to it, so I have no clue what he even said in it.
I didn't either, John. Maybe we should prepare talking points before the podcast instead of.
Yeah, we should have, John.
We can skip past it. I don't know. I was just curious. Like, do you think the police are getting vilified in the press, or do you think maybe? Well, do you think they're getting vilified in the press?
Probably. But they're also getting glorified. It depends what you look at.
Mm-hmm. Well, I saw an interesting video today, like a Facebook video, and it was a little kid, and he was handing out roses to all the police officers. So, like, kind of saying, like, hey, even though we're for change, we still support you people, like all the police. Because I think everyone, that's the kind of the message is we support the police. Like, we want good police. We just want reform because we think their job could be done better. We want things to change for the better. Mm-hmm. I think I shouldn't say we. I should say what Black Lives Matter is asking and what we support, but what I support, I guess. I don't want to throw you guys under the bus and make you.
I support it.
Yeah, no, same.
Okay. Now,
official stance.
I guess one last thing is in the special, Dave Chappelle kind of calls out Candace Owens for what she did. Now, do you know what happened there?
Vaguely.
So Candace Owens puts out a 14-minute Facebook video, I believe, or it was a video, basically saying George Floyd isn't a good person. You know, he's a drug addict. He's a this. He's a that. He's a crime. You get it. You get a sense he's a this or that in the Netflix special, and basically says that why do Black Lives Matter and why do the Black community pick George Floyd to be their hero? You know, you see him being spray painted everywhere. Everyone's really embracing George Floyd, sharing pictures everywhere, kind of celebrating his life and sad about his death. And Dave Chappelle called her disgusting, said it was a disgusting way to kind of talk about him, I guess.
John, what did he actually call her? Binder? You're not allowed to say.
Oh, I'm
fair.
not saying it.
Come on, you got it.
You can watch the special. I'm not.
No,
I'm not,
I want you to say it. This is quote it.
No, he called Laura Ingraham the C word, not her.
C word. There's a lot of words that start with C.
I'm not saying the word. He took a bold stance there, one I'm not willing to go towards. But he basically just said like do you think George Floyd, like, does his past matter, or do you think no, he had a life, he deserved to live no matter what?
No, because if you dig into literally anyone, you find out they're not perfect.
I mean,
And then you can find a reason to vilify.
Yeah.
look at the president and the nominees coming up. Like,
No. Even look at it. Even like freaking pick someone who's like good.
Justin Sherrick.
Someone who's good.
You're good at some things, right?
One.
Okay.
Look at like Bill Gates.
yeah.
Yeah, he's doing a lot. He's a philanthropist and all that. Also, he was very heavily involved in something with organizing school districts in the area that he lives or something to get more funding to private schools. Something a little shady to take away money from public schools. Nobody with that amount of power is a good person.
Is perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Martin Luther King cheated on his wife.
Yeah. And that almost broke like his thing, but like he's the key is
Hold on 1 second.
so the key with this is
Keep going.
And I forget what I was watching. I apologize for that. It was V for Vendetta.
It's a good
I
movie.
was watching this the other day. The reason he wore a mask is because it wasn't about the man, it was about what it stood for. With George Floyd, it's not that they want him to be the person. He is the like face
The
of it
figurehead.
right now, but it's about the idea behind him.
Everyone sees themselves as George Floyd and doesn't want to
Yes.
be in the situation George Floyd was in.
And
Yeah.
Chappelle like brings that up. It's like
No, that's
you see
yeah, that's
yourself
perfect.
in them.
No, exactly. I just wanted to get your guys' take on it, but I fully 100% agree. Like, it's really frustrating when you start focusing on the wrong things. You know, Kaepernick kneeling, it's about the flag. George Floyd
Oh yeah.
passing away, everyone sees themselves as George
Getting
Floyd
murdered.
and doesn't want to. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, getting murdered.
And you make it about the man. It's not the point.
Yeah, it's
So-
narrow-minded. It's about everything that it stood for or is standing for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do
So-
have a question for you two.
Okay.
Nice.
So a while ago, I watched this Wisecrack video. We will link below. That basically talks about the rise of comic-related news.
Mhm.
So like with what was it, Jon Stewart, and then whoever was him before, was that the Daily Show?
Well, it was the Daily Show, yeah, but
Yep.
Jon Stewart was the one that made it popular. There was one guy
Yeah.
before him.
So
Mhm.
basically, the gist of the video, if nobody's gonna watch it, is that because comedians are giving the news, as long as they have proper like journalist
Understanding?
people with them, they can both sides things in terms of they can criticize both sides of the spectrum, and that allows them to give a more honest review of the news. Because if you're stuck with your one party, you won't critique anything on that side.
That's all you're gonna hear.
But with comedy involved with it, you can make fun of your own side. Sure, it's going to be directed a little more towards a certain side, but you're not afraid.
So basically saying that we should try and watch more comedy specials and like more comedians doing the news kind of thing.
You need to like diversify and get different like news outlets.
Takes.
But it's basically what I want to link this to is with Chappelle, how he's always been, whether he'll like, he's like the first person that comes to your mind or something. He's been political in terms of like the material he talks about. You got people like George Carlin. You got literally like every comedian. It seems like they can get to the core of what, when they talk about like serious issues, they can make things funny, relatable, and get to the core of what's, they don't have to beat around the bush.
Dave Chappelle was also the one that he went on SNL when Donald Trump was elected. And what's the name of the SNL guy? The head?
Lorne Michaels?
Lorne Michaels wanted to get Dave Chappelle specifically for that, because if Trump won, he wanted Chappelle there. Mm-hmm. And I think Chappelle was the one to give a very unifying message, kind of saying, like, we wish you luck, like, we hope you work with us. And I think that should have been the message from the jump. Like, whether you like or dislike Trump, he was elected president. You don't have to like it, but you have to say, like, maybe we'll try and work with you. We hope you work with us, kind of thing. And if he doesn't, well, it's on him. You know, you have another election in 4 years. But I think a lot of Democrats, when Trump was elected, were like, we're not going to work with you. We're not going to do anything. And I think that was something to be critical of Democrats for at the time. Like, he's elected, try and work with him, maybe get some of your stuff passed that you want passed.
Yeah. I mean, hindsight, but.
Yeah. So, I mean, this would be a time, like, I think Joe Biden came out and said, like, I'm not waiting around for me to be president or for this election. Like, we should pass something now. And I think that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to pass some crime stuff. I know Trump signed an executive order with some stuff attached to it recently. We'd have to dive into that, but I didn't really prepare for it. But
no,
no, it's good.
Trust Joe Biden's anything.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's fair.
So I do want to go back to Justin, your point when you started talking about comics and Jon Stewart and everything. Yeah. My head immediately went to like the Green Lantern, because the Green Lantern's Jon Stewart, and I had no clue what you were getting at.
Oh yeah, it basically willpower will give you something.
Yeah, then you were like, oh yeah, the one before him. I was like, all right, so which Green Lantern was before Jon Stewart?
Hal Jordan.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, so I was like, Hal Jordan? I was like, I don't know, was he before or after? Like, I really had a train, but like, once you mentioned like comics, I was like, oh, okay, so we're not talking about Green Lanterns and that.
He said comics before Jon Stewart, I think, right?
Well, yeah, he said comics, and that's where my head went.
You to like comics?
Like comic like comic books. That's where my head went. And that's how I got to Jon Stewart. I completely forgot he hosted The Daily Show and is a real person.
He is a real person.
Yeah.
Shout out to him for being a real person. Space.
I thought you were going to talk about Stephen Colbert for the Colbert
I'm grouping
Report.
them all together.
Okay.
Yeah. They're all one and the same, more or less.
But I think that's true. I do think, like, we should, like, comedians, I feel like at certain times have a great sense of, like, what's going on. More so than regular celebrities. Like, the comedians kind of have to be aware, because that's how they maintain being funny. They comment on the world around them most of the time. So they have a great sense of what's going on, I think, more so than anyone else.
Yeah,
I don't know.
You could tell when comedians are going downhill is when they start like talking about stuff that like nobody can relate to. It's like, oh, you got too rich. You can't really relate to the common folk over here.
That 30 Rock episode where Tracy Morgan's character is like too rich, and he's talking about like flying in a G5 and how terrible that is, and no one's laughing in the comedy bit. But yeah, I think that's definitely go check out the special. It's 8:46. It's obviously after George Floyd had the knee of the officer was on George Floyd's neck for 8 minutes 46 seconds, which ultimately killed him. So it was a very powerful message, really something to watch. I mean, I can't recommend it enough.
Agreed.
Check
out Chappelle's older stuff too.
Oh yeah, just a joke. Watch all Dave Chappelle stuff. Also, check out this other podcast called Murmur Murder Podcast. We're giving them a special shout out, and they're going to be giving us a special shout out.
Don't
We're
give away the
podcast
secrets
family.
behind the scene.
No, we're
Just wanna
podcast family. We stick up for each other, and if any other podcasts want to reach out and
Hey,
give us a
John, you
special
want to
shout
tell
out,
us
we'll give
what it's about?
some murder mystery
It's
podcast.
about mermaids.
I didn't know.
Well,
That's why
Justin,
I'm asking the question.
hold on. Do you want me to get the tweet up? Hold on.
No,
Let me get
it's
this.
Not, whoa! We lost your face. We're
Thank
recording.
God.
So Murmur Mysteries.
So it's
we'll link it
a-
below.
It's a
fine
true
podcast.
crime comedy podcast with new episodes out every week. If you enjoy true crime, a splash of comedy, all in 20 to 30 minutes, then this podcast is for you.
That's nice.
So,
Big fan of
yeah,
short time frame.
it does sound interesting, right? So definitely check them out. And
And where
hey,
can you
we're
find
podcast
us?
family. I think they're on everywhere, actually. We'll link it below. We'll link their. I
Link
think
it
they sent us a
below.
link.
And one more
Yeah,
time
I'll
for
actually-
the folks
I'll
in
actually
the
link
back
it below.
row.
Murmur. So MUR Murder Podcast. It's a true crime comedy podcast.
There we
Check
go.
the link below.
All right. Check.
I will actually link that below, I promise.
And now,
I can't promise
Adrian,
about the other ones, but
where
I will
can
put
they
that one in there.
find us?
Now, if you want to find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, all at Hot Takes and Beer Breaks, you can find us there, or you can email in at hottakesandbeerbreaks@gmail.com. Please
Damn
do
right you
so.
can.
Yeah, you can.
Would you look at that?
Wow.
And that's our show for
pretty
the
good.
week.
Au revoir.
Thank you, everyone.